7 long weeks coming down to this.
Last night, in conjunction with the Pennsylvania State Police, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, detectives arrested 28-year-old Bryan Christopher Kohberger.
The man accused of the brutal crime behind bars.
I recognize the frustration with the lack of information that's been released. However, providing any details in this criminal investigation might have tainted the upcoming criminal prosecution or alerted the suspect of our progress.
And most chilling, his major of choice, criminology at Washington State.
He is a graduate student at Washington State University and has an apartment residence over at Pullman.
Just 8 miles away from the scene of the murders, his Pullman apartment is being raided.
Tonight, we dig into his background and what's next for the investigators looking to convict the man accused of the heinous crime.
This is Fox 13 News at 4.
Thank you so much for joining us for the news at 4. I'm Neil Wong.
I'm Brian Jackson. We've got team coverage on the arrest of the man accused of the University of Idaho killings.
Frankie Thompson spoke with the former coach of one of the victims. Jennifer Dowling is at a Pullman apartment complex where the suspect was believed to be living.
But first, we're going to head out to Austin Westfalls, who was at that press conference today. So, Austin, give us an idea of what we learned and what details they declined to answer.
So, Brian, Nia, we might just be a little bit closer to figuring out the who in this case, but there are still a lot of questions about the why. Police did investigate. They did arrest, rather, 28-year-old Bryan Kohberger. He was arrested in eastern Pennsylvania. Take a look at his mugshot. Kohberger is a PhD student studying criminal justice at Washington State University in Pullman, Washington. It's about 15 minutes west of Moscow. Now, records say that he was taken into custody at his parents' gated community earlier this morning in eastern Pennsylvania. He's charged with 4 counts of murder and burglary for the deaths of 20-year-old Ethan Chapin, 20-year-old Zaina Kernodle, 21-year-old Kaylee Consalvis, and 21-year-old Madison Mogan. Police are still looking for the murder weapon. Here's what police had to say today.
These murders have shaken our community, and no arrest will ever bring back these young students. However, we do believe justice will be found through the criminal process.
And let me preface, there's a pending case now in court, and I and my office and the investigators have to live with the restrictions that our Supreme Court places on pretrial publicity. That said, I promise you we will share with you through the court process or otherwise whatever we are allowed to. I just appreciate your patience on that.
And what officials here in Moscow are saying is that they're waiting on whether or not they'll see if Kohberger will be extradited back to Idaho quicker. They're basically waiting to see if he waives his right to extradition. If he does waive his right to extradition over there in Pennsylvania, that could bring him back here to Idaho rather quickly. If he chooses not to waive that right, officials say it could be a little bit more of a lengthy process. And one last thing to note that officials are saying here, they are stressing that they still want people to send in photos, videos, social media posts, any tips that might help them connect the dots to figure out how exactly this suspect could be tied to the murders and what exactly happened that night. Back to you.
Thank you for the updates, Austin. And from Moscow to Pullman, Jennifer Dowling is at an apartment complex near Washington State University where police believe the suspect lived.
Now, Jen, what can you tell us about him so far?
Well, he lived in the unit behind me, and you can see that it is still taped off at this hour. Crime scene investigators have been working that apartment all day, and neighbors were very surprised to see the cops show up. And one neighbor that we talked to actually knew Bryan Kohberger, and he says that he was shocked to learn that he was tied to the murders.
Oh, this is really scary for me. So even I was surprised when I saw cops there. I was like, okay, what is going on?
Students were shocked when investigators descended on this apartment complex in Pullman, Washington, after WSU student Bryan Christopher Kohberger was arrested for the murders of 4 college students across state lines in Moscow, Idaho. Subankar Ghosh was his upstairs neighbor.
I was like so surprised that
the two had occasionally talked in passing about their PhD programs.
Because he was talkative, so when we first met, he was like, oh, hi, I'm Brian. So then I was like, I'm Subankar. So this is not common for like with other people, but he was like kind of talkative and liked to talk. So then I feel that he's a kind of nice guy who likes to talk.
Ghosh is part of the computer science department. He says Kohberger talked to him about his studies in the criminology and criminal justice department.
So I was like, how do you do your research? I think he said like he does experiment, like goes and talk to people.
Ghosh believes Kohberger lived alone. The 28-year-old was taken into custody by local police and the FBI at 3 a.m. in the Scranton, Pennsylvania area, according to a source in law enforcement. Messages seeking comment were left for officials at WSU. The Associated Press also reports that he graduated from Northampton Community College in Pennsylvania, with a spokesperson from the college saying that he received an Associate of Arts degree in psychology in 2018. Kohberger's apartment is only about a 15-minute drive from the rental home where the 4 students were stabbed to death. Meantime, the arrest announcement comes on the day that 2 victims were remembered at an Idaho memorial service Friday afternoon.
It's so bad. Yeah, I'm really sorry for that.
So tonight, 2 campuses reeling now that a suspect has been arrested in the case from Washington State University. Reporting live in Pullman, Jennifer Dowling, Fox 13 News.
Thank you for those updates, Jennifer. You know, people across the nation are reacting to the murder suspect's arrest, including the people closest to the students killed.
Ethan Chapin is one of those victims, and he's from right here in Western Washington.
Frankie Thompson joins us in Skagit County with more from his family and former basketball coach.
Frankie.
Yes, so Ethan's mother says the outpouring of support is giving their family some comfort as they enter this next phase into their nightmare. His youth basketball coach tells me he has mixed emotions about the arrest of the murder suspect.
It's tough to say great news and happy news under these circumstances, but certainly hopefully it's something that can help the families move forward.
20-year-old Ethan Chapin is one of the 4 University of Idaho students murdered at an off-campus home in November. He is from Skagit County, and so many people are remembering him as a charismatic, funny young man taken from this community too soon. Ethan's basketball coach and trainer says he's been struggling to come to terms with his death. The coach has known Ethan since he was in the 4th grade and for 10 years trained him to be a standout athlete on his local team. We stopped by the gym today in Burlington, where Ethan would practice and train at least twice a week. His coach remembers Ethan always telling jokes and being a positive teammate. With the arrest of the suspect, the coach is reflecting on the day he heard about the murders in Idaho.
That particular day, I was thinking about how I could be a better coach. We had just lost a championship game, and I'm thinking about X's and O's and drills and things like that. And when I heard the news of Ethan, it just put things in perspective, you know, the relationship that we had together, the times we spent in this gym working out and bonding over basketball and building a brotherhood through the game. You know, just put things in perspective that those things are more important than, you know, any X's and O's or championships that could be won.
The coach says he is hosting a fundraising event this summer to honor Ethan's life and legacy. He also says people nationwide have been donating to the team to help them create a new nonprofit in remembrance of the student. Ethan's mother says the family is marveled by all the lives her son touched in his 20 years. After the arrest, she says in a statement, "We are relieved this chapter is over because it provides a form of closure. However, it doesn't alter the outcome or alleviate the pain. We miss Ethan, and our family is forever changed." Over the last 7 weeks, we stood by the Moscow Police Department, FBI, and Idaho State Police, confident they would solve this crime. So when we received the call last night, we congratulated them for their diligent work and service. University of Idaho says it will continue offering counseling services for those who are mourning the loss of all 4 students. It's also offering classes including self-defense and giving away personal security devices. Reporting live in Skagit County, Frankie Thompson, Fox 13 News.